Hey, this is Annie Veblen McCarty, and I'm going to teach you how to be effortlessly productive. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and I got sick and tired of experts preaching what business and life should look like and what I should be doing as a leader and to turn a profit, only to find myself wasting time, burned out, feeling inauthentic, and still not making any money. On this show, we are ditching the shoulds. I'm giving you permission to do business differently. As a certified master coach, I believe that everything you need to have success and build the life and business of your dreams is already living on the inside. I'm going to empower you to lean into what you do best, help you see your path forward clearly, and give you the strategy and action steps along the way to become effortlessly productive. Let's dive in. Welcome to a special episode of Effortlessly Productive. In this episode, I would like to share with you some interviews I did at a recent retreat. We were on this retreat to celebrate the graduation of a new class of life coaches from the life coach certification that I teach in, and I am a certified master coach from. So we were at this retreat. We also bring together our already graduated coaches and our master coaches. These retreats are absolutely so much fun, so powerful. We do workshops. It is just one of the absolute best times. I never laughed so hard in my life, cry so hard in my life, just like feel the love and the community that we have created. It is an absolutely beautiful experience. So I was lucky enough to have the opportunity at this last retreat to interview some of my very favorite humans on the face of the planet, three very powerful life coaches, Trysha Berndt, LeeAnn King, and Elizabeth Kurz. So this special episode, we talked about lots of topics. We talked about facing challenges. We talked about building confidence. We talked about growing businesses. And I wanted to share all of these little bits and pieces of these interviews with you in this very special episode today. I hope you enjoy it as much as I had fun creating it. Let's dive in.
In the early days, and like Josh was talking about this yesterday, the expectation is that one day it's not going to feel like this. One day it's not going to be a struggle. One day it's just going to be easy for me to sit down and send the invites. And the thing that you're struggling with today specifically, yes, is probably going to get easier. But whatever that resistance is, it's just going to latch on to something else. And it does it's like, okay, well, I have no strength over here anymore. So let's go apply this to putting yourself out there in person. Like it is, there is always something. So I guess just that acceptance that the task itself might get easier, but the head games aren't necessarily. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Even when the task gets easier, there will always be a new task that won't be easier, like sitting down like this.
Right. So on the fly, right?
But then the next time that you're on the fly, like you're going to be like, oh, I've done this before.
Yeah. Like I can't feel like, normally I feel the circulation like pulling from my extremity. And I'm not, I'm serious. Because people are like, you're so confident. I'm like, you cannot feel what is going on inside of my body right now. Like sometimes I can like tremble a little bit. You can hide that on Zoom. But then you start getting in person and it's like, how am I going to hide that?
Yeah.
And it's just doing the things on repetition, because now we can sit here and do this thing that, so I could sit in, like how awkward it is that you guys are all just sitting here watching us and like Josh might walk out and like what's going on, but to just keep doing it anyways.
Yeah. And for me, that self-confidence was such a huge piece of it, of like, I don't have to know I don't have to have experienced it before, because I know I can pull confidence from other areas. Like I know I'm going to be okay. And that was something that it was one of the very first lessons that they taught in our PCC round, which I think turned into the breakdown sessions. But I was like, oh, okay, like I got this. I'm just going to lean into that self-confidence, because if I have self-confidence, I can do anything. I don't have to have had the experience in it before. So, and I realized in that, I was like, okay, I actually have a fair amount of self-confidence. I didn't consider myself a very confident person, but once I went through the way Mark taught it, I was like, oh, okay, I actually do have this, and I just need to like really lean into that.
I think that's an interesting, because I was talking about that with somebody the other day too, was the concept of like clarity and trust. And for me in that moment, it was realizing that I don't have to be confident in my ability to do something. I just have to trust myself that I can figure it out. Even if I'm not clear on what it is that we're doing or what path we're going, I just have to trust that along the way, it'll work itself out. What's meant to be will be, but also that like I will do what needs to be done, and that'll be enough.
Yeah. And that actually like really plays into my answer to the question, which is, I think the biggest thing that I have learned and tapped into is really listening and leaning into my intuition. Because for so long I was like I would have these little like nudges, and I would ignore it or be like, no, I have to, like, again, kind of going back to what I was talking about yesterday, but this person told me it should be like this, and so I have to do it that way, rather than like listening to myself, like what is right for me, and leaning into that. So I would say like empowering me to listen to my own intuition and trust that. And like I had a lot of past experience of when I listen to that, things go really well. When I don't listen to that, things don't go well. But it was almost that permission of like, no, you are correct, that like you have what you need inside of you, and that's enough. Hi, LeeAnn. Hi. So tell me, now that you have experienced being here at one of these retreats, what was your biggest takeaway this weekend?
Biggest takeaway I've had is just to be around other people who are on the same path, who have big goals, and hearing how they've worked on like the internal battle and worked on that kind of breakthrough, and hearing like it is possible. And then I think also in all of the sessions that we've had, like going deeper into the questions and things, like hearing feedback and hearing that I'm not the only one that is struggling. You know, we all have different and unique ways that we are trying to get out of our own way, and we are overthinking certain aspects of our business, or not really realizing what an impact we maybe are making, or that our message really does matter. And people really do need to hear it. Mm-hmm. And so seeing that happen, even within the group, having conversation, like seeing people really be impacted by us just sharing our answers with each other, was like, okay, everyone needs to hear this. Like everyone needs to hear like everyone else's message, because it can really unlock things in their life. And so I'm really glad that I've been here. I mean, to be honest, like, I guess there was probably a small percentage of me that was like apprehensive, you know, but ultimately I just am eager to, like, I know I want to build a business serving people through these skills and through life coaching. Mm-hmm. And what better way than to just be around other people that are doing it?
So we all meet up on Zoom on a fairly regular basis, multiple times a week, and we have those conversations. So how is this different? How has it been different being here in person compared to what we do on Zoom multiple times a week?
So much richer. Like, it's so much more authentic, I think, to just be able to like be in the room with people and to even ask more questions about, and to hear people's stories. I think if you really get to know people a little bit more, like, where did they come from? Like, why are they here? Like, what was their path? Like, Because I think in those Zoom calls, it's like we have like one or so hours, and it's like there's not really that room to just kind of go deeper with people.
Yeah.
And honestly, just getting to hear even more from like the leaders, from Josh and Mark, like to hear like their, struggles and insecurities and stuff. And they do share that like on our calls, but I think it's just more meaningful in an environment where you can really just have that like full conversation without it just being a little snippet.
Yeah, for sure. Do you mind sharing with me a little bit about what your transformation has been like coming through PCC, but then also now having been in the M&M for a few months now?
Yes. So I definitely am not the same as I went into the PCC. I had a lot of growth in just realizing how I can serve clients one-on-one, and I can like really make an impact on their life and hold a space for them. And that is the most rewarding thing. And so I've seen, kind of the initial success in that sense of like getting clients during the PCC, but then also, it's not like in 3 months, I'm going to just completely get out of my own way, because I've been in my own head for all these years, for many years.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little bit. So it's like, I've seen success and I've grown in certain ways, but then it's also, it uncovers new things to where I'm like, okay, now I'm realizing I'm overthinking in this area, and now I need to work on that in this area. And now I need to hear the feedback from everyone around me to realize that I'm doing that, because otherwise on my own, I'm that person that will just spin and spin and spin and try to figure out the answer to the problem in my own head, versus being around people where I can just have that on, like, just ask the question.
Yeah. Getting the help, right? Yeah. So last question, for somebody who is thinking about joining the life coach certification and just isn't sure, what would you say to them?
I would say it's definitely like the decision that has helped me realize there is a potential inside of me that I didn't know that was possible. Like, to really learn the tools that I've felt like have helped me both with business and outside of business, just with my family and with my communication in general, and just how I see, yes, I could use this to help people in one way for a certain amount of time, but then I can use these skills for like whatever is down the road, and it's so applicable. So it's kind of helped me realize what, that I actually am capable of more than I thought I was. So if you've ever like doubted yourself, which is something that I struggle with, and I've made strides and proven to myself that I can do it, but I feel like there's still so much to learn because the subconscious is so interesting. So if you've ever just felt like you haven't been able to figure out what's holding you back or what's keeping you stuck or why you haven't achieved that goal that you want to achieve, learning this stuff is invaluable. Like, it's like gold. And so it's a really fun like discovery process that you're not only going to help yourself, but then you can help other people unlock it too, which is super rewarding.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We have. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi. So you were PCC round 3 graduate. Mm-hmm. How many of the graduation/retreats have you been to at this point? Do you remember? I've been to 3. 3. Okay. Tell me a little bit about that first one that you went to and what that experience was like.
Oh, well, I had a baby 3 months ago, so I was really excited to get out of the house. So, and well, that might, like with others, I was excited to take some time for myself is really what I'm saying. So, so I was really excited to meet all the people that I went through the PCC with. We had formed an incredibly strong bond. And so it was nice to see them, see Josh and Mark in person. And then I always thrive on in-person events and connections anyways. So that was really important for me to just come in and get to connect with everybody on a more intimate setting and level than on Zoom.
Okay, awesome. And what was your favorite memory or experience from that specific retreat, from that graduation?
We have so many.
I know we do. Tell me about, I don't know, anything that sticks out in your mind from that weekend.
Well, ours was, four of us were in a house. And what I remember is that we, in the evenings, whenever we got home, I mean, gosh, we were talking about last night, we sat in the kitchen and talked about either business or personal until 2 in the morning, I think, for 3 nights in a row. And we just really got to know each other so well, and it was so fun. And so I think just staying up, and then the trainings, I wasn't expecting the training as well, getting to actually sit with Josh and Mark and be able to be, there's so few people, and just really having a good face-to-face conversation or learning moment that happened at that time. And that, we just had a lot of fun.
Yes.
We had so much fun.
Yeah, we had so much fun. So much fun. Tell me about, because you said that we do some workshops and learning. I mean, there's lots of fun and lots of bonding. What has been one of the biggest takeaways from, for your business specifically, that's helped you grow your business from these retreats?
Well, I think probably that moment in the very first one that we went to, whenever Josh, because everybody here, it's an inside joke how all over the place I used to be with my thinking and just my thought pattern and trying to communicate. I couldn't have a clear or focused thought. So I think Josh just finally, I couldn't get out whatever workshop we were doing, I couldn't get out what it was I was trying to say. And Josh was able to interpret it for me and almost made me feel okay. Not almost. He did make me feel okay that since I'm a competitor and a high performer, I've got to win. I need a trophy I have to go after. And he was able to verbalize that and actually paint that picture. And I was like, yeah, that's actually what I am about. That is my identity that I've actually lost kind of over the years. But that's really who I am to the core. And so that moment, actually, it was almost like it gave me permission to finally go out and be like, okay, it's okay for me to go after stuff and actually have a trophy to chase.
Yes. So what has kept you coming back to all of these? Because I know for you, traveling is not always easy. You have 3 very little kids, and your husband, he's gone a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the logistics of coming, and then the monetary, investment, obviously, of traveling. What has kept you coming back to all of these?
I think I think for me personally, it goes back to that one-on-one connection, just hanging out with people. I know, I'm a big, fun, play hard, work hard type person. But, so I think I really like that. We get to learn. I always have a new takeaway because there's always growth between the events. Mm-hmm. So getting to come back, do a training, even if it's maybe something similar that we've heard in the past, because you've done so much growth, you hear something different and you're able to learn something new about yourself, or it takes you to the next level. And then I think we just get to laugh a lot. And our faces hurt a lot. It's just, yeah. I think I call it my working vacation. And it's where I think after this retreat in particular, it's really figuring out, okay, this is where I want to make sure I can go, because it's a working vacation that I get a lot of takeaways from, and it's a great place for me to kind of relax and take some time for myself.
Yeah. So last question, you mentioned the business growth that you've had. Mm-hmm. So tell me what you've been able to achieve, results in your business from looking at where you were that first graduation to where you are now at your 3rd retreat that you're coming to.
Gosh, I mean, there's been a lot of business results, a lot of internal results, but I think from
both.
I think probably one of my biggest compliments from Josh is just for him to tell me, okay, from this squirrel brain into somebody that like can really focus and channel and articulate, like that's been really huge for me. But also, just over a year ago, I had just finished the PCC, just graduated. So I was still in class and I was applying a little bit, but it was through the constant repetition of showing up to the training, over Zoom, through the different programs, and just, I don't know, finally just going all in, like finally making the decision. It's like, okay, now's my time. Getting on calls. I have a few clients. I've given a few presentations, and really figuring out who my perfect client is, and really going after that, and just kind of growing, I think, and making a name for myself, particularly within my community, which has been really important for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mind sharing? Because I know you have some like pretty big contracts. Do you mind sharing some specific like numbers with us on that?
Well, I've liked, what was really exciting, and it was through some connections that I had. So I will say that, but I was introduced to some people who were on Shark Tank. So I was able to have a call with them, and then they hired me. So I've had 2 clients that pitched on Shark Tank, and then someone in town committed to a contract, a full year contract that was about a $12,000 contract for me.
That's super exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that with everyone.
Thank you.